Okay.
Poor thing.
Well, good to see you guys. It's
I think Emily's gonna jump on a little bit in a few minutes, though.
yeah, it's crazy. The weather's back to June weather. It's absolutely gorgeous. I know a buddy of mine works up in Wyoming, and they had 8 inches of snow up there, just north of us. So
What part?
Oh, wow.
what's the close? Laramie's the closest. The next one up, Cheyenne, I think.
Well, Cheyenne's before Laramie.
It's
it's
Laramie.
Laramie.
Then. It's the next
Okay.
one.
And your sister's in where?
My brother.
your brother. That's right.
Maybe it's there. It's in Wyoming. I'll see him on Saturday. He's coming down to hang out.
Nice.
So let me go find my window. Oh, I just saw someone. See, that's the participants. I just saw someone. Brandon. Hey, I did it this time.
Hi, Brandon.
So I don't know if this is week 8 or week 9, but it is one of the larger numbers. We're still single digits. Hey, Brandon, welcome home. Hope you're doing well. Thinking about you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for the card too. I appreciate that.
Oh, good.
You're welcome.
Well, tonight we want to, as we continue.
That was very sweet, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You're welcome, friend.
As we want to talk about working from home, and home can be really wherever you are. Home it could be maybe you office in a combined place or in a basement of a running store, but home could be from the back of your car or your front lawn. Mine oftentimes lately has been my porch because we have a fountain, and I love hearing the water trickle. It's soothing for my soul. And I think another.
Yep.
All right.
Emily.
Now we're all here. Perfect. So I love the idea of working from home. And this week we wanted to talk about leadership. All of that we've been doing is leadership. And I love these kind of images. I have one in my bathroom that's a different topic. And hold on, I'm sorry.
Okay, on.
I just want to make sure Emily's hanging with us.
There she is. Okay. Hey, Emily.
And so I love this. And so just kind of scan some of these words in here. Leadership is a big word. I think it's thrown around a lot loosely. I remember taking in grad school a course called Servant Leadership, and the whole course was just on leadership. And I probably applied like 2% of it because there was so much information, and it's such an important topic. Any of these words stick out for you guys when you think of leadership?
To me, it implies a group of people going in the same direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was going to say the word change.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, leaders not only change themselves, but they also change others, and they change cultures, communities. It's pretty powerful.
I think I personally always like the word empowerment. You know, a leader, I want to empower people, change lives, so I like empowerment.
I love the word in the upper right corner. It says collaboration. When I think of leadership, I think of many people collaborating together in a common direction. What do you guys give? Now, this is harder. I gave you some words. Mark kind of threw it out there. What would be a definition of leadership that you guys would use or define? Don't everybody lead at one time. Throw some brainstorming concepts of how would you define leadership?
I think for me it's so hard just because it's so kind of like you said, it's so vast and so big.
Mm-hmm.
But I think some of the things that kind of stick out is, kind of what you're talking about, people moving in a similar direction, but changing at the same time.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of a big topic, but yeah, somebody, yeah, I agree with what he said. I agree.
Awesome. Here's one that I heard this week, and we'll stick it on the wall. Creating results in a way that inspires trust. Leadership is creating results in a way that inspires trust. What are some things that you observe about that definition?
Can you say it one more time?
Creating results in a way that inspires trust.
To me, when I say that, it kind of signifies that it's not one or the other. It's not all about building trust, but it's not all about results either. You have to hold the two in balance.
Okay, awesome. What else do you guys observe or feel or emote when you hear that definition of leadership?
Like for me, I was gonna say like you get bigger results with like the person that you're trusting, like with what you're doing. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to follow someone you don't trust, right?
Or put like forth like the effort to like do whatever you're doing. So like if you don't trust a person, you're not gonna put much like effort into it. You're not gonna see many results. But if like you're trusting the person that you're following, you're gonna give more effort, which you'll see more results from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of the definition, there's a word used here. I use the word creating. Leaders have to create, and they're creating something. There are good leaders and there are bad leaders. Bad leaders create results. Give me some examples of what bad leaders create.
Think of Hitler.
Yeah.
Mass genocide.
Mass genocide.
Bad leader.
Bad leaders
Very controlling. I mean, I would say bad leaders are very controlling. I mean,
Yep. Exactly. A lot of charismatic leaders can be narcissistic, and over time, they may create results, but a narcissistic leader may not inspire trust. So there is a fine balance here that you can create results. There are multimillionaires, there are people that are leading groups that necessarily don't inspire trust. They may do it out of obligation. I used to work in a volunteer organization for 14 years, and you had to, I think it was one of the greatest illustrations of leadership because you had to engender volunteers to follow you. In organizational leadership or transactional leadership, you can often say, I'm going to lead you, and if you follow me, I'll pay you better. Or if you do these things, I will pay you. Or if you don't do them, I will fire you. That person's still a leader, but it's not great leadership. It's not inspiring. It's not emoting. It's not flaming my heart to go, I'm going to follow you and I'm going to trust you, and together we're going to create results. And so oftentimes when you work in a volunteer organization, Shackley's got a little bit of that. Each one of you, we can't force you to do things. You're really volunteering your sacrifice, your time, your energy, and your money to chase after your dreams. And because we can't say, well, you're fired. Mark, you're fired. You're wearing a headset tonight, and that was not called for, you're fired. And so the greatest leaders have to create results. You have to install change, impact, financially, emotionally, relationally, socially. You have to have an impact, but you've got to do it in a way that inspires trust. So knowing that, it yields a question. It forces what two questions when you talk about leadership and your own personal reflection. What questions come up to you? There's two questions that really kind of are surfaced if you start talking about your own leadership. What questions come to your mind if we're going to do an evaluation of leadership on each of us? Here's one of them. Go ahead. Oh, Kelsey, you're thinking, you're brainstorming.
I was gonna say like what's your
Repeat that
motive?
again one more time. What was the
Why?
question? It's kind of, you're cutting this choppy.
Yeah. So the question is, when you start talking about leadership, or
Oh, my phone froze.
question that is forced to the front of my mind is, and here's, let's just give you one. Am I any good at leadership? Am I a good leader? And what are my leadership strengths if that's the case? That makes sense? Would anybody choose to follow me? You have to ask that question. If you're interested about being a leader, you have to say, why would anyone follow me? And so you have to identify your strengths. I want each of us, and this is painful, but I think it's really good. I want you each.
You guys are freezing on me. I can't hear anything.
What's that? I want each of you to give one leadership strength that you have.
Good listener.
Awesome. Anybody else? What's a leadership quality that you have?
I would say for being a good listener, being able to motivate, being able to encourage people.
Love it. Mark, you got one?
I think being able to see people's perspective, but then also seeing a different perspective, helping them see things differently.
Excellent. Iramara or Emily, what's a leadership strength that you have?
I think to be able to be a good leader, you also have to follow as well.
Awesome.
Yep.
Excellent. Emily, if you're floating around, I see the sky. It's beautiful. I'll have Christine share one.
I would say build into others, connect with others well, connect with people well.
I love casting vision. I think a leader has to cast vision for brighter days. And so I think I'm good at that. I'm not going to ask you guys to share the question then. What are our weaknesses as a leader? I'm not going to have you guys share that. That doesn't seem fair. But I've got some. That's a question that has to force us to this next stage, is we want to raise our leadership bar. So we've got our leadership strengths, and I think it's a good practice to go, here's what I'm good at, because you want to focus on those because you're good, but then you also want to raise your leadership bar. You want to raise your capacity. So we're going to talk about two things just briefly: capacity and choices. And leaders have have opportunities to raise their capacity to what they can do. And so your capacity is not set. None of you, and so you think about it, a good question is, well, how many leaders are born? How many people are born leaders? If you were to ask a nurse, she goes, none. They're all babies. They're all just infants. And so your capacity isn't set. So if you think about that, leaders aren't born, they're actually made. And each of us has different things that make us strong, some natural things, and you guys get to remove the capacity in your leadership. So if you think you're hitting the wall against something or the ceiling, you actually get to choose to remove that. You can grow. I'm telling you, every single one of you can grow in your leadership, and you can make choices to grow your capacity. So we want to talk about 6 capacities that there are as a leader. The first is an energy capacity. Energy capacity is your focus and help me flesh some of these.
Well, I was going to say your ability to push and pull, like your ability to make something happen. And I think sometimes we, what energizes us? What are we passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
And that fuels the fire, that fuels the flame. And sometimes our energy is sucked the life out of us because we're doing things that are wearing us down.
Yeah.
So we're choosing to put ourselves in positions and places that are really taking away our energy.
So as you develop your energy capacity and you're removing these lids, these barriers to your growth, think about your energy capacity. Where's it at and where do you want it to be? The second is your emotional capacity. This is kind of where's your Eeyore? Oh, woe is me. I'm a victim of everything. I have 4 kids. I can't do work at home. And I have 2 dogs that chewed up a set of Beats headphones today. So emotional capacity is it's the woe is me. It's feeling sorry for myself. Remove that capacity. And now start thinking, what's the opposite? I have.
Yeah.
I'm not a victim.
Right.
I'm actually doing well. It's positive.
I'm not going to make the same mistakes. I'm
Mhm.
learning from them.
Third is your thinking capacity. Thinking capacity. What can I put into my brain? What can I learn?
I think this is even thinking, learning to think effectively and really expanding that, being more, I think,
Strategic.
yeah, strategic. Readers are leaders. So when I'm reading, I'm learning, I'm leading. And so it's just what is in my head that I'm able to start fleshing out more.
Fourth is our people capacity. How much people can we put into ourselves? But also, what do we believe in the best of others? As you lead others, your people capacity needs to grow because you're going to lead people that are dummies. You're going to lead people that are wonderful. You're going to lead people that are just Eeyores. So you have the opportunity to believe in the best and to inspire them and encourage them. You get to be abundant in their lives. That's pretty powerful. A creative capacity. Go ahead.
Well, I think even what Mark said earlier, it's like you're creating more options. You believe that there's more than just one option. And so you're able to look and see what isn't there. And just you're learning to ask good questions. This is a huge one for me, is like, I want to grow in this capacity of learning to ask good questions. And that really is going to expand this one.
And as you work with others that you're working with, ask those good questions. You go, gosh, where can we grow together in this? So our capacity to be just creative. Go, there's other ideas. We could do things differently. We could do a Zoom differently. We could do a one-on-one differently. Christy and I have just spent the last 2 days doing systems differently. We're rewriting a whole system of onboarding because someone said, have you thought about this? And it challenged us. So we said, yeah, that's something we want to try. And the 6th one is production capacity. You get to choose to remove the lid on what goals, big dreams, what things you're going to do. So production capacity, goal, mindset, and development would be, I'm going to be director in 3 months. I'm not going to because I have the capacity. I can do this. And this is what you can do.
Yeah.
Choices. Now there's 10 choices, and we'll run through these and then we'll get some of your feedback. But there's 10 choices you have as a leader. You have the choice to be responsible to yourself and to others. It's your life.
Yep. Your accountability.
I'm not responsible for you, Mark. I can encourage you. I can love on you. I am not responsible for what you're going to do tomorrow morning. That's the power of a leader. You get to choose that tomorrow. Second, your character. This is your values. This is what defines you. This is I think, probably one of the biggest choices you have as a leader that makes you into a good or bad leader.
Mm-hmm.
Abundance. This is a belief.
I think this is, we talked about earlier, is that abundant mindset over scarcity. I believe that there's more. There can be more versus, no, I think this is all I got, right? It's either abundance or scarcity mindset that we'll hold on to.
I just watched a Zoom call of somebody that's my age, and her Shakti paycheck is a little over $7,500 a month. And the abundance mindset is, that's where I'm going. I'm doing that. I believe that. I'm going to help others do that as well. Discipline choice. You have a choice to focus and to control your time, to manage your time. We talked about quadrant 2 or 3 weeks ago, leadership. And if you missed it, go back and watch that Stephen Covey material. But you have a choice to discipline how you're going to spend your time and on what. That is only something you can do. 5, intellectual.
This is where I think I thought it was intentional.
It's going to be intentional. I typoed it.
I'm like,
It's intentional because I'm thinking intellectual is not a choice. It's supposed to
see, we're not perfect. It's intentional, the intentionality of significance. Like, you're choosing that.
I don't have my reading glasses on, so I can barely even read it. So you have a choice in your attitude. This goes back to that Eeyore, but I'm going to choose to be positive today. I made some calls today for my other company, and I just chose to say, this is going to go well. I know we're coming out of COVID and most retail stores are dying, but my attitude is going to be positive and encouraging. I'm going to tell myself that this is what I want to be like. You have a choice on what risks you can take. You can be really careful as a leader, or you can take some risks to say, I'm going to go outside my comfort zone to develop myself, to build my capacity. And on each of these areas, these 10, as you develop and make bigger choices or develop in each of them, your leadership impact is going to have a greater influence on others. You have choices on your spirituality, on what you're going to believe and where your heart's going to be attached to, your identity, and where your significance is in that. You have a choice to grow. And this is in a lot of areas. And that's why I like it as the last one. And the last is you have a choice to partner with corporations, to partner with people. These are your choices as a leader. I made a choice, and Mark and I made a choice in our last lives to partner with an individual. It was a bad choice. That it turned sour. No one forced Mark to do it. No one forced me to do it. It was my choice. I knew some of the cautions going into it. I thought they were behind us, but those are things you get to do. And so you get to choose. So as you think about those things, those are choices that Kelsey has, Brandon has, Iramara, Emily, Mark, Christine and I have. Every day we get to make those choices. And as we make those, we're going to grow our capacity in our energy, emotional, our thinking capacity, our people capacity, our creative capacity, and our production. I like famous, important people that didn't necessarily make a lot of money, but they had a deep impact. And Nelson Mandela did. As I've said, the first thing is to be honest with yourself. You can never have an impact on society if you've not changed yourself. Great peacemakers, and I would say a peacemaker is a great synonym for a leader, are people of integrity, of honesty, and of humility. And so I want to ask you guys to be honest with yourselves this week. Part of your homework assignment is how is my leadership? Can I be honest? Where are my blind spots? What's hanging me up in my growth as a business leader, as a community leader? Maybe it's in your marriage or your parenting leadership, or your nutrition leadership. You guys can raise your capacity. I don't care what your background is. What I love about a network marketing opportunity in business is it doesn't matter if you're black or white, if you're poor or rich, if you're educated or not. I was sharing this with a buddy a couple days ago. He goes, "What are you going to do after the mattress world?" I said, "Well, I'm going to put my energy and time into my pillow company, into Shackley." And what I love, and he just started a company that's going to help a couple former felon buddies of his. And I said, "That's what I love about multi-level marketing." And he said the same thing. He goes, "You can develop anybody if they want to grow as a leader, and they'll be successful. There are no hindrances." And so it doesn't matter if you've lost your job. I just heard of a story of a gal that just back in March, she owned a Pilates studio. It was shut down. And within 30 days, within 60 days, she broke out into director because she made some choices to say, I'm going to raise my leadership capacity. She did a couple things over and over. She did actually one or two things over and over. She hosted 6 to 8 parties in 2 months. And she launched out in director 3rd month. And she made a choice each day to say, this is what I'm going to do. And she's began to see a check of now $1,000 to $1,500 in her 3rd, 4th month of being involved in Shackley. She goes, my other business died. And she's in California, so they're even a little bit more shut down. So how about you guys? What's your next step? What's one takeaway as we begin to close, and we'll give one more. Yeah, we'll go big screen. Sorry. Thank you, Christine. So what's your takeaway? What's your next step?
We can share what ours is too. I would say for me, I'm a pretty good leader when it comes to like my massage business. But when it comes to, because that's like my first and foremost, but like when it comes to my Shackley business, it's like I lack. Like I don't put the attention and the focus like I should be. with that business. So
What is maybe?
I need to prioritize my time.
Okay.
Okay.
That's one practical. Instead of saying I suck at it, 'cause I don't think you suck at it.
No.
I think it's just one simple thing. I'm going to prioritize all my time. I'm just going to prioritize a portion of it. And you know what that is for you.
Yeah.
No, I think for me, it's just starting to be more intentional.
Okay.
Kind of like Kelsey was saying, you know, pick pockets of time and be intentional with that time.
Awesome. What's the next step in your Shaklee leadership? I think we may have lost Brandon into the.
I'll say for me, just my next step. I've taken challenge. I've personally found to just talk about it when before I didn't really know what it was like doing a cleanse and everything, and now that I've done it, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Like, for people who have fears and stuff, like, oh, they won't be able to do it. I can give them positive words of encouragement and tell them it's really achievable.
That's cool.
Awesome. So next step, if I heard in kind of something broken up, is taking what I've learned and now just communicating it, sharing it with others. That's a huge step.
Exactly.
Awesome. Iramara, how about you?
I think it's a combination of being more disciplined and following through.
Awesome. I think we all shake our heads. I've got this little crazy time sucking machine is sometimes I actually kind of have to like throw it down to say I'm not going to be on this time sucking machine, because I want to be more focused and I want to be more disciplined in following through on some of my goals. I think Emily is laying down on the lawn, so we'll let her pass. She might be playing with her kids or her dog. But I think those are good questions. In your homework assignment, what is my next step in developing as a Shaklee leader? Now, 8 weeks ago, this whole thing birthed out of COVID. 8 weeks ago was March 12. It's actually about March 21st. It's right when we got back from Mexico. And the world was shutting down, because I was looking at all my sales calls for my other company, and all my sales calls ended on March 13th. And they were all to be followed up in April. And I just kind of let them slide. So I'm revamping everything. But for you guys, we started this at the beginning of COVID. And then shortly thereafter, I think it was April 7, Shaklee launched the stimulus plan, an opportunity to make $1,000 to $2,000. We have 6.5, 7 weeks left of the stimulus plan. And so as part of it is we want to help you guys get to reach some of your goals, one, financially, but also if that happens, you'll see growth and you'll have a base of growth from that stimulus plan. If you don't know what the stimulus plan is, go back and review, or we'll set up a call. But part of your homework assignment is to saying where, and evaluating, and maybe we'll do a call with each of you guys, where am I in either the launching of my stimulus plan opportunity or in achieving those goals to seeing the greatest financial return. We had a couple call us yesterday, and they've been in this for 60 years.
No, they're not 80.
Oh, then 50 years. They're old, but they're old and they.
Okay, Mark, you It
yeah,
was
Pat and Don.
Pat and Don Sameka.
Oh yeah. Okay.
They're
Yeah.
60s, early 70s.
Yeah, they've been doing it for a long time.
Right.
Call just to hold us accountable in our development. And Michelle, we have other people that are holding us, giving us assignments. And so next week, we're going to launch with you guys an onboarding system. I think one of the hardest parts, and Kelsey has been experiencing this better than most people. Mark, we didn't have really an onboarding program. We just said, work hard. Good luck.
No, we with you.
And Mark had some pieces of it. So Christine and I, on one piece of paper and on one online system, will help you guys launch an onboarding with new distributors and people that we think that if you do these things in these timely manners, and they're focused. There's not a lot of things. We don't want you to spin your wheels and lose traction. We want you to go, I'm going to start driving, and I know how to steer, and I know where the gas and the brake is. That's all I need to know right now. Later on, I'll learn where the blinker is, and I'll learn where the windshield wiper is. And so I think it's going to be a really simple step on how to onboard people, because the goal is to multiply your business. The key to all of your success is not how many people you can sell a Prove It Challenge to. It's how good of leaders we can be to other people. And that's what we want to help you in. And so we want to make that as simple as possible. Do you guys have any questions as we wrap up, or any comments? Brandon's working out. Making
I'm kind of working and listening to you guys at the same time. I got 2 people I'm training.
I love it. Good job, buddy.
Okay, we're almost done.
Oh, you guys
Here's
cut.
our commitment to you. I will individually text you guys, and we'll find a time, obviously before next Thursday, that we can personally one-on-one chat, because I want to hear from you individually. So that's my goal for you guys. I will reach out, and then you guys just have to say, this is when I'm available, and let's make that time to chat, and we'll get that
Cool.
hammered out. Okay?
Nope,
You guys are
sounds good.
awesome.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Take care, guys.
We'll be
Bye, guys. Take care.